Meanwhile, non-stop protests against the judicial reforms continue in Israel. Protesters are observing the Day of National Resistance across the nation. Let's now talk to our correspondent Jody Cohen for the latest, and she's joining us live from Tel Aviv. Jody Cohen, good to see you and hi there. What new developments do you have for us today?
Hi, Eric. So I'm in Tel Aviv. You can see behind me it's quiet at the moment. About an hour ago, there was a protest at the Kiryat, which is the military headquarters just here. And in another half an hour, there's a protest planned for the high-tech sector at Sarona. But where I am standing now has been renamed Democracy Square by the Tel Aviv mayor. And this is something new. And at these protests, they always try to do some sort of theme and something new. So another thing that's new that's happening this afternoon is they're going to be blocking the train stations, which hasn't happened before, as well as blocking the roads. Now, this is the 28th week of the protest. It's being billed as not just a day of disruption, but a day of resistance, indicating that they are upping the ante. They started blocking the roads from 6:30 this morning. They're marching as we speak to the Histadrut Labour Federation, and that's to try and put pressure on them to call for a general strike. The Israel Medical Association is said to have been deliberating about whether or not hospitals could possibly strike this week and only working in emergency cases. Right. They actually moved the day from yesterday to today, and that's after this meeting was announced between President Biden and Herzog. Presumably later on, that meeting's going to take place in about 5 hours from now, and they'll be hoping for those split screens on the television. And they'll also be hoping that by doing the protests as President Herzog is meeting with President Biden, that will put pressure on President Biden to say something on this issue. And as you said, President Biden had a call with Prime Minister Netanyahu last night. Right. He alluded to it. He talked about the importance of the shared democratic values. And Prime Minister Netanyahu said that he would try to seek broad support for any further changes over the summer.
All right, now that you've mentioned the visit of Israel President to the United States and the call that President Biden had with the Prime Minister of Israel, Benjamin Netanyahu, this is all taking place against the backdrop of more protests across Israel. Tell us what's going on over there in regards to, you have the president going to the United States, and now you have the Prime Minister who will visit the United States very soon. What's the message here?
So I think that there are two messages that come out of the meeting between President Herzog and President Biden, and also that phone call between President Biden and Prime Minister Netanyahu. Number one is the importance of the close ties between the United States and Israel, especially when it comes to security and intelligence cooperation. Number two, clearly that there is some tension between the Biden and Netanyahu administrations. There hasn't been an in-person meeting yet for Prime Minister Netanyahu with President Biden, although, of course, President Biden did call Prime Minister Netanyahu last night and extended an invitation for him to visit. Now, President Biden has made clear in the past that he is concerned over the Israeli government's plans for judicial reforms. There are, of course, disagreements over the issue of settlements. Prime Minister Netanyahu, too, has made clear that he doesn't agree with President Biden's approach to possibly returning to a future Iran nuclear deal. But this phone call between President Biden and Prime Minister Netanyahu, they've discussed all of this. There was a positive tone to the readouts from both sides, and they're likely also to discuss these issues in the meeting later today between President Biden and President Herzog.
All right, I've been talking to our correspondent Jody Cohen live from Tel Aviv. Thank you very much, Jody.
Thank you.
WION is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news on the move.